Welcome, everybody, to a special soccer edition of On Texas Football. I'm your host, Blake Munroe. I'm joined by Gerry Hamilton and our guest today, soccer sensation Lexi Missimo. Lexi, how's it going today?
Good. How are y'all?
We are doing great.
We're great, Lexi. You know, the first thing I got to ask you is you committed to Texas in 7th grade. I mean, why not 6th? Did you not have an email address back then?
Honestly, it wasn't really normal to commit at that age back in the day, but now it's pretty normal. I mean, people are going pro at my age now, but yeah, it was kind of in the cards for me to always go to the University of Texas. I mean, obviously, I had other options, but I just loved the University of Texas. So many reasons.
So you're unique in a athlete we interview that you just mentioned something. You had pro contracts in front of you at what age? Just so people have a full understanding of this.
Yeah, I would say 14 years old.
That's wild.
That is great. So what, I mean, you talked about so many reasons, but kind of go into that a little bit. Why Texas? What made you want to be a Longhorn?
Oh gosh, so many reasons. So half my team from my club season, Solar Soccer, half of them ended up committing to the University of Texas. So that was another reason of why I really love the University of Texas. Obviously, Ange Kelly, a great coach. She's not only a coach, she's like family to me, and just the campus in general. I mean, who wouldn't want to go here? Texas has everything. So,
hey, talk about being at Texas now before we get into you guys' soccer season. Being at Texas now, the #1 in Directors Cup, I think 3 of the last 4 years. So 2 of the 3 years you've been an athlete at Texas. Talk about just the vibe at Texas as an athlete right now in general.
Oh, I think everyone's just I mean, we have a lot of, quote unquote pressure to just do well because we've done well every other year. But yeah, I just think everyone has expectations on them that, I mean, we're just very excited to show people. And I think every team is just on its peak right now. And Texas is ultimately just dominating.
So the first season of FBC play, I mean, you've done Big 12 your entire collegiate career. You know, you're very familiar with those teams. So what's it like going into a whole new conference, not knowing any of the teams, not knowing the tendencies, the players, all that? I mean, everything is brand new to you.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it so exciting this year is just because it is so new and we haven't played any of these teams. And another reason why it's so exciting is I think there's no gimme team in the SEC. Every team's just going to be a battle, and it's going to be exciting to see how Texas matches up to every other team.
So I guess my question for you guys, I believe are what, 7-0-1 right now. Where do you feel like y'all are at? So it's easy to say, we're playing great, okay? But where do you feel like y'all are at as a team? How close to the maximization of this team are you guys? And I just threw the record out so people know, but as a team, in y'all's discussions, where are y'all at right now as to where y'all think y'all can go?
Yeah, that's a good question. So what makes this team special this year? I mean, we lost 2 of our great players. NJ Cox and Trinity Byers are starting forward and center back. And I think what's making this team a different level is everyone is coming together and really stepping up to those positions. And it just shows that we do have depth on this team. And I think that's the difference between this year and last year as a whole.
Now, you surprised a lot of people, speaking of this year and last year. I mean, it seemed like everybody, you would read online that everyone expected you to make that jump to leave college. Obviously, you didn't. Here we are talking to you right now about this upcoming season, or this season, rather. So what went into that decision to return to Texas?
Different reasons, but obviously I think the job's not finished here. I would love to win an SEC and go farther in the NCAA tournament. And personally for me, I mean, Texas One Fun really stepped up and showed that why it's so important at college level. And I just couldn't leave that offer off the table.
So I got to ask you a question. Who's better, you or your dad?
If we're gonna go by stats, it'd be me, because I think like last year we were joking around because it was in the talk that I might go pro. I had like 1 more point than him in his whole career, and it was just funny. Where I was like, "Oh, I really beat you by 1 point," but now I'm coming back, and I mean, I'll probably beat him by more.
So your dad was your coach growing up, correct? Or at least part of the time?
Yes.
Okay,
my whole life besides college.
Was he as hard on you as the other teammates, or was he harder on you? That's a question I always ask. I call you a coach's kid because essentially you are.
I think he was hard on everyone. I mean, he's definitely kicked me out of practices before. So, but he's also kicked out other people. But he also kicked out other people. So, I mean, wait, what was that?
What did he kick you out for? We got to know this.
Probably because I wasn't doing as good as I should in his eyes, and he probably had enough. I gave him attitude. We butt heads a lot, so he told me just get the keys and go to the car. That's when you know you're gonna have a long ride back.
Oh, so for those that aren't aware, your household basically is full of soccer stars. Your sister played at Texas. Your mother played at TCU. Your father obviously even set records at North Carolina. So what was it like growing up in a household like that where, everybody's just an amazing soccer player?
So it definitely put more passion into me trying to be the best I can be. Me and my sister actually were very competitive. My dad also coached her growing up, so we would just obviously compete to be who's better, who's the better sibling. And I mean, at some point, it just went away. Like we were like, my sister's a nurse now, so she was like, "You're the soccer player, I'll be the nurse." But ultimately, outside of the soccer field, we actually didn't talk about soccer much, and I think everyone thinks that obviously because he was my coach and everyone played soccer, but we try to stay away from that outside the soccer field.
So we haven't had, and look, we talked to a lot of football recruits on here. We haven't had many people that are ranked number one in the country in their sport coming out of high school. I mean, talk about that. Did you feel any pressure when you took the field, when you were ranked number one? Did you embrace it? Did you go out there and like, yep, I'm the one? I mean, how did you handle that? Because I know it's different from football and a basketball perspective just because of how much attention those athletes get. But how did you handle that?
I actually never got asked that question. I think it was obviously some pressure, but I mean, ultimately, I was ranked in high school number one. I think for like the whole time I was in high school, so it was kind of like an expectation. Almost like I didn't really know what to expect from college, to be honest. I didn't really watch college soccer a lot. So I just played. Like when I was on the soccer field, I was like, I'm just going to do what I do. And hopefully people will realize why I was number one.
Okay. So here's my question for those that maybe, or maybe don't follow the game as closely, right? It's not their main sport. What made you that? If we put on a film of you and watched you play, what made you that player?
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you say that again?
Yeah, so if we watched you play, if you watched yourself play, what made you the number one recruit in the country?
Oh.
What made you stand out differently than others?
I
mean, are you faster than everybody else? Are you quicker? Do you have more ball control? I mean, what is it?
I think it's my vision and the how I read the game. I think I have an intelligence in soccer. Obviously, I've gotten it from my dad, but I think how I read the games, like I love the through balls and I love like taking people one-on-one, and I think I have a good shot. But I think it came down to how good my club team was. Like we won almost everything you can think of in club soccer, and I think like me and Trinity were just like our job is to score and create goals. So I just think we got a lot of notoriety from that because we did our jobs.
I mentioned her because I had read somewhere that you and Trinity have played together. I mean, for the longest, since y'all were 5 years old, I believe is correct. So what was that like, choosing a school where your longtime friend, your longtime teammate also chooses, and then getting to continue on playing with each other?
So we actually committed at the same time. I wish I could play the phone call. It was on a Zoom or a phone call. One of the two. And so just knowing that my best friend was coming with me kind of like lessened the pressure of like what to expect from college, because at least I knew that I knew someone at college, and it was kind of more of an outside of the soccer thing. Like I kind of never pictured going anywhere without Trinity. So it was kind of nice just like knowing that we are going to the same university and we are going to play. And I know that she's injured right now, but that I feel like still in me that we're going to see each other sometime in like the pro aspect someday.
This weekend is the Texas Hall of Honor, right? Great athletes from Texas that are inducted into Hall of Honor. chances are pretty high you'll be there one day. I mean, does that stuff resonate with you now, or is that down the line when you're done with a college and pro career? I mean, do you have a sense for where you're at the University of Texas, like as far as leaving a legacy in soccer?
I actually really haven't processed it. I mean, I just know like statistically that I should maybe be on the Hall of Fame because I think I'm the leading assister in points right now currently. So I haven't it hasn't really hit me. I think that's more down the line. But a person that does tell me because he's experienced it himself from UNC, my dad was like, "Oh, you're gonna be in the Hall of Fame." And I'm like, "Oh, that's nice, Dad. Let me just focus on season right now."
See, we don't do that. We just talk about the future there. So, yeah. So, what's the ultimate? I think I know your answer to this. What's the ultimate goal for this team this year?
I mean, I think we just have high expectations, obviously, going as far as we can at NCAA tournament, and obviously winning is our goal, and definitely winning an SEC championship. I mean, we won 2 Big 12 back to back, so hopefully we can get a third one and a new conference. That'd be phenomenal.
And then Gerry mentioned your personal goals, your team goals, but I want to know about your personal goals, and not just collegiate, but years from now, you look back and you say, I did it. This is what I wanted to accomplish. What's most important to you, whatever that may be?
So personal goals from college, obviously just playing my role, doing the best I can be for this team. I mean, if that's scoring, assisting, that's my part. My dream goals is obviously to go pro. If that means overseas, staying in the States, I mean, that's the dream goal since I was like 3 years old. And obviously playing for the senior women's national team, or I'm also dual citizenships with England national team. So one of the national teams would be amazing.
So, was there any ever consideration given to going pro at that young of an age, or were you always going to go to college?
I think it's more popular to say that people go pro in today's age at that age, but back in the day, it was more leading towards college. And I'm big on education too. You never know what will happen. So just knowing that I'll have an education in my back pocket, leaving and going pro is obviously a plus.
Well, that leads me to another question. When your soccer playing days are over, what's next? What do you see as next for you? What are you majoring in? Kind of what's after soccer for you whenever that day comes?
So like I said, gosh, I'm mentioning my dad a lot, but my dad owns restaurants in DFW. He has this thing called Playmakers, and he owns restaurants with like Dirk Nowitzki, Simone Biles, Michael Phelps coming up. But yeah, that's obviously a passion of me. I'm a big foodie, so going into that after playing soccer would be amazing.
I'm glad that you mentioned food, because I was told to ask you, why do you drink Sprite after every game?
Oh boy.
I actually want to know how y'all know that first.
Just certain things I know.
I don't know. I think I just crave it. Something about like a good ice like Sprite after a game. I mean, everyone has something. That's mine. And I think it just wakes me up again and puts more energy in me. I don't know.
There's something about that happened at South Lake Carroll, even though you didn't attend school there. But you and Quinn Ewers came out as number 1 ranked players in the country in your prospective sports in the South Lake community, right? Do y'all know each other? How long have y'all known each other? Have y'all ever had conversations about it? I'm sure there's no bets about who was better.
Oh no. So like I obviously know him. We have similar friends back in high school, and I consider him a friend. I mean, we follow each other on Instagram. But yeah, like we haven't really talked about that, but it is pretty cool. I also want to say Haley Hernandez, a diver, is also from South Lake, really good. Asia O'Neill. South Lake is just honestly, it sounds like a powerhouse, but it's pretty cool to know that all these athletes chose the University of Texas and we're all doing pretty well.
The last thing I have for you is about adversity. So I ask this, we talk about this a lot, but the highest ranked athletes are always the best, right? You know you're the best, and you're used to having a certain level of success. And you had faced adverse situations sometime at Texas. When that adversity hit and you responded to that, how much do you think that's helped you and will help you? Because there will be adversity on the pro level. It's not always easy, even for the best like yourself. How do you think that's going to help you?
Yeah, definitely. So I actually did have adversity my sophomore year. I got injured and I missed I think 6 to 7 games. And that really obviously hurt me personally. And obviously I hated that. But I realized I took a step back and I just think like, oh, it's in God's plan and everything happens for a reason. And I think it actually kind of motivated me more for next season. And that's why the following season, my junior year, I did the best I ever could. And the stats show itself. But I think that's the biggest thing is just remembering why you play soccer and knowing that why you ended up going into the sport in the first place is because you love it, and just don't let it consume you at the same time.
Good stuff. Well, Lexi, thank you so much for joining us today. We know you're busy, so we'll let you go. But best of luck this season, and upcoming through conference play.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.